Welcome to the Lose Weight, Live Life podcast. If you're a female professional or entrepreneur who would do anything to lose weight, yet finds it impossible to stick to a diet, to eat less, or just what you think you should, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life and weight coach, Clair MACKENZIE. Listen in to learn how to stop overeating, lose weight for the last time, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, all without diet deprivation and self-sabotage. Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to podcast episode number 52. Today I'm talking about having enough time on the podcast. But before I get started, I want to invite you to find out more about the Lose Weight, Live Life Mastermind. We start 6-month weekly small group coaching in late September, and there are a few places left if you would like to join me and a small group of ladies committed to losing their weight for the last time by creating a relationship with food, themselves and their lives that they love. Go to www.thebestyou.coach/mastermind to find out more. And of course, I think this is the perfect time to participate in a 6-month mastermind because you're going to get all the support that you want through Christmas and into the new year so that you're all set up to make the most of next summer. Okay, so let me ask you, what's your relationship with time? Just like your relationship with your partner or with your children or with yourself, how you describe your relationship is defined by the thoughts that you have about them or it in the case of time. So what are your thoughts about time? Do you think that you don't have enough time? Do you think that time passes slowly or that it passes quickly? Do you think that time is running out? Do you think that you waste time? We have so many very normal sayings or thoughts about time, and most of them don't feel great. And this is what we're going to look at on this episode of the podcast. So this episode is for you if you're guilty of saying you're too busy or you haven't got enough time, and especially if your relationship with time is one of the things keeping you from losing weight and having that relationship with food that you want. Now, you will be very aware that we all have the same amount of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. No one has more or less than anyone else. You may not be aware that no one is busier than anyone else. If we only have 24 hours in a day, you have 24 hours to do things, to be busy, just like everyone else on the planet. You are no more or less busy based on how you spend those hours. You can be busy sleeping and watching television or busy eating and working. One is not being busier than the other. If time is blocking you from doing what you want in life, whether that's being healthier or doing other things that are important to you, then it's time to take control of your time. Now, I've not got my time mindset where I want it to be. It's a work in progress, but I can see what I want to change, and sometimes I feel I've changed it, but not enough yet that it feels like my new normal. Some of you may recognize this as an analogy to your weight loss journey. You may know what changes you want to make, feel like you're winning some weeks, and settling into learning in others. So on this episode, we're going to explore some common time thought errors and associated negative emotions and concepts. By the way, a thought error is a thought, that is a sentence in your mind, that feels like the truth, isn't a truth at all. It's just a thought, and it's a thought that doesn't serve you, thought that creates a block keeping you stuck. But first, know that you don't need any time to lose weight. You will need to put less food in your mouth less often, or arguably different foods in your mouth less often. If you didn't change anything about how you eat and you just reduced meal sizes and cut out snacks, you would lose weight and you would be saving yourself time. Not only time spent eating because you're eating less, but also time spent shopping or preparing that extra food. Now, that's not necessarily what I recommend you do because I want you to focus on eating foods that nourish you, and I want you to figure out the right way for you to be eating for life that works for you. But I do want you to see and acknowledge you have time to lose weight. You are not too busy to eat less. Life does not have too many challenges for you to eat less. In fact, many of you may recognize that when life is truly challenging and all-consuming, for example, if a loved one is seriously ill, or when you're facing some other major life challenge, you naturally eat less when you're in survival mode. You literally lose your hunger and resort to grabbing something to eat only when you truly need it. Now, again, I'm not advocating this to create a relationship with food that you want, but if you believe you're too busy or don't have enough time, then I want you to challenge your thinking. Okay, so let's look at reframing those time thought errors and exploring some negative emotions that come up when we're thinking about those scarcity thoughts about time. And we can also look at how you can create more time in a savvy way and take control of time in your life. So some common thought errors that I hear are, I don't have enough time. I need more time. I can't take time away from my kids and work. So if you're thinking I don't have enough time, I want you to know you will never have more time. You will never have enough time. If you're thinking that way right now because you're never going to get more of it, you have 24 hours a day only ever. When you think I don't have enough time, you're giving away all of your power to time. When you think that, how does it feel? You're relinquishing control. You're being a victim of time. You may feel overwhelmed or frustrated, lacking, burdened or stressed, and feeling burdened or stressed will make it more difficult for you to focus, be productive, and do things efficiently and effectively. So it's time to take back control of your time and to remind yourself you have time to do everything that you want to do that matters. You have time to make yourself a priority. You have exactly the right amount of time to do what you want. When you think about time in this way, you will feel capable and calm and accepting and grateful and knowing your body is vibrating in a very different energy. It will be far easier to do the things that are important to you that matter. So what are your thoughts, your beliefs about time? Before you can upgrade your thinking to empower you and serve you better when it comes to time, you're going to want to surface those well-worn time thoughts, those time beliefs, so that you can see and address them. Don't push them away. Shine a light on them, question them, argue the case for them and against them with yourself and be curious. I think that one of the problems is that we've been accustomed to being busy being a good thing or a worthy thing. I think that we think that we've not been busy, then maybe we are being lazy or we're lacking in some way. Having a great deal to do doesn't just happen to us. It's created by us. It's within our control. It's our choice always. No one is busier than anyone else. Busy is a verb, simply meaning to keep oneself occupied. Remember that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. The exception may be of doing something such as driving whilst listening to something, but apart from that, it's impossible to do more than one thing at a time. Everyone is doing something always, even if that's sleeping, sitting, or walking. The only thing for you to decide is how you want to spend your time. One of the challenges we have that we come up against when it comes to how we spend our time is it being equitable to the challenge we face when we make food decisions. And that is that when we decide in the moment, our decision is driven by the motivational triad of our primal brain. We are physiologically programmed to choose the thing that feels better, to avoid emotional discomfort. This is why, after a hard day at work, you crash and watch television instead of doing your food plan or mindset work or journaling. The good news is that when you start to look at your time patterns and mindset, you can create ways to take control of your time so that you feel empowered and not a victim of time. So many of us are on the treadmill that is our lives. We don't prioritize or say no to make time for ourselves because we are fearful of what will happen. And yet the reality is that when we must focus on things because of life emergencies, everything else miraculously either gets done or it doesn't matter if it doesn't get done. The truth as to why we don't prioritize things for us, for ourselves, is that we're just avoiding our own emotional discomfort. We choose the discomfort of being overweight over the discomfort of leaving work on time because it's a well-worn groove that feels difficult to break free from. Imagine you're cycling uphill on a bike. You're tired and it's hard work, but you daren't stop because if you do, you'll fall off or you'll never be able to get the momentum to get going again. Even when somebody pulls the car alongside you and offers you a lift, you still can't give up. You can't give up the battle. You can't stop pedaling. Even though you know that there's this option of getting in the car and getting to the top of the hill with less effort, less energy, and in less time. Maybe the idea of it being easy and taking the easy option or taking help from someone else doesn't feel good to you. Maybe you judge yourself for taking the easy way out, or you feel less worthy at the thought of it. It's very normal. We get stuck eating unhealthily, not to take time for ourselves and not realizing there was an easier way to do things, not knowing that when we fuel our body in a way that feels good, lose the weight, we have more energy. It's like jumping in that car and getting to the top of the hill so much quicker, so much easier, with so much less effort, because everything is just running so much more efficiently. So I want you to think about what you think about time. What is your relationship with time? What are your thoughts about time? How do those thoughts about time leave you feeling? Are those thoughts empowering you? Are they empowering you to live your life, to spend your time how you want to? You only have one life. Every day you live can never be lived again. Do you want to live your life with intention and meaning and be the pilot, or be the passenger just along for the ride? If you do want to take control, then upgrade your thinking from I've not got enough time to I create time, or I decide how I spend my time. Upgrade your feelings from busy and overwhelmed to calm and capable and in control. If you're unhappy with your weight, if you're unhappy with your relationship with food, then you're spending time thinking and wishing things were different. Now, whether you're thinking judgmental thoughts about yourself or wishing that your life was different, you're still using up precious time that could be spent doing stuff to help you feel better about yourself. In his book, The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks talks about concepts of time. And he says, to generate an abundance of time, ask yourself this question. Where in my life am I not taking full ownership? What am I trying to disown? Now, a positive way to ask the question is, what aspect of my life do I need to take full ownership of? The answer, he says, is always blindingly obvious, but you can't see it until you get humble enough to ask the question. Now, here's the principle behind the question. He says, stress and conflict are caused by resisting acceptance and ownership. If there is any part of ourselves or our lives that we're not fully willing to accept, we will experience stress and friction in that area. The stress will disappear the moment we accept that part and claim ownership of it. To do this, Gay Hendricks suggests total abstinence from making comments that equate to time scarcity. Comments or thoughts such as, I wish I had the time to stop and chat, but I'm in a hurry. Or where did the time go? Or there simply aren't enough hours in the day. Or I'm in a rush. Or I'm sorry, but I just haven't got time. Or I don't have a day free. So my challenge for you, your homework for this podcast, is to observe yourself in your relationship with time. Notice your time scarcity thinking and to decide that you want to create more time, a more time abundant mindset. Decide to think, I have all the time in the world. I have time to do everything that matters. I get to choose how I spend each minute of every day. I love that I have a whole 24 hours each morning I wake up, and that I get to choose when I sleep, eat, work, and have fun. Okay, one more thing before I go. Time is the one thing we literally cannot create more of. It is the most finite of our resources, and yet we do perhaps waste it more than any other. And what does it even mean to waste time? Now, I believe you are wasting time when you're not spending time using it in the way that you choose to with intention. Wasting time is not about spending time sitting and doing nothing or watching Netflix. I think that time wasted is defined by how you feel when you're sitting doing nothing or watching Netflix. It may be that it's a waste of your time, and it may be that it's by far the best possible use of your time. Exactly the same could be said about you working intensely hard to finish that work project. The only thing determining whether it's time well spent is how you feel, and how you feel is determined by how you think about how you spend your time. So the only thing that matters is that your thoughts about how you spend your time and how you actually spend your time are in alignment. Nothing else matters. Now, as I say this, I'm reminded of all the ladies that I've worked with who have a fear, a discomfort, a judgment of themselves for wasting food, because maybe they think others don't have enough food. It's because of how they've been raised by their parents. It may go back to their grandparents. And I want you to think that you could think exactly the same about wasting time. Question, how can you throw time away? How can you waste it when others are not as fortunate as you are to have the time that you have? Don't waste time. Decide you love how you spend your time. Appreciate every week, every day, every hour, and every minute. Okay, that's it for today. Have an amazing week and take care. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are ready to live a more intentional life, lose weight as a part of that journey, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, then I would be honoured to be your coach. There are 2 ways that you can work with me. You can join my monthly membership program, My One Life Academy, that gives you self-paced learning, supported by twice weekly live calls and a whole lot more. Or you can join the waiting list for my next 6-month Lose Weight, Live Life group coaching mastermind intensive. Go to www.thebestyou.coach/coaching to find out all the details.